So Putin has long pursued summits with US presidents as a way to position Russia on equal footing with the United States, despite not being a US peer by nearly every metric. But he believes merely appearing at the table with a US leader, particularly in a high profile setting, lets Moscow portray Putin as a central architect of world affairs, regardless of the actual substance or outcome of the talks. We saw how nearly every president that has met with Putin has basically only come away with talk or a continuance of the status quo. There have really only been 5 major events that one could consider true diplomatic breakthroughs between Russia and the US since Putin came to power in 1999. The first would be the early post 9/11 cooperation in 2001. The second would be the Nuclear Strategic Offensive Reductions Treaty or SORT Treaty in 2002. The third would be cooperation on Syria's chemical weapons in 2013. The fourth would be the Iranian nuclear deal negotiations in 2013 to 2015. And then number 5 would be the extension of the New START Treaty in 2021. Notice how in the last 25 years, there really hasn't been a whole lot of meaningful cooperation outside of nuclear weapons proliferation. And 2 of those 5 major diplomatic breakthroughs came after Russia invaded Crimea in 2014. None came while Trump was in office, which makes Trump the only president to not have a major diplomatic breakthrough with Russia since Putin came to power. So it is increasingly clear to me that Putin does what he wants to do anyways, and just wants the ability to name drop the fact that he worked bilaterally with the most powerful leader in the world, thus insinuating that he is a peer to the president. State-controlled media in Russia will broadcast these interactions to reinforce Putin's image as a strong leader who commands the attention of the world's superpower. And this media arm won't just focus on Russia, it'll send this over to the global south as well to drive Russian legitimacy home with them. And this is nothing new. Since the Soviet era, Russia's leadership has been keen to be seen as a global heavyweight. One-on-one meetings with the White House help reinforce the Kremlin's desired image of Russia as an indispensable power in security matters, especially in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So there's this narrative that if Trump were to have these bilateral talks, it could be presented by the Kremlin as an air of legitimacy, somewhat justifying what Putin has done in Ukraine. But am I ready to say that Trump is emboldening Putin with these talks that exclude Ukraine? I would say not yet, because we've actually seen this before from Trump. Kim Jong-un is an international pariah and a brutal dictator. Trump called him a friend and became the first and so far only president to set foot in North Korea. He held bilateral talks with Kim Jong-un, and it was hailed as a turning of the page in an era of new brokered peace. Well, we all know that nothing new came out of that meeting other than some photo ops for both leaders, but nothing meaningful changed. And now, Kim Jong-un is as dangerous as ever in helping Russia in its war against Ukraine. So did that meeting between Trump and Kim legitimize and embolden Kim Jong-un or cause Kim to back off? And did anything happen in either direction? Well, I would say no. And I think we would be right where we're at right now with Kim Jong-un had Trump met with him or not. And so that is the path I think we're likely to see when it comes to a post-Putin-Trump meeting. Will there be some immediate deals made? Perhaps. But I would argue that those won't last, not with Putin at the helm, because we've seen for decades now Putin make promises to US presidents, including Donald Trump, and then do the exact opposite. So I believe whether Putin and Trump meet or not, Putin is dead set in his ways, and he's going to do what Putin's going to do anyways. That is, unless someone actually physically stops him, the Kremlin, and his army. Until that time, it's all going to just be talk. It's all going to just be laid out there in deals on the table, and we're probably not going to see anything come out of this. So more than likely in 5 years, when we look back at this time period, like with the Kim Jong-un and Trump talks, it probably is just going to be a big nothing burger.